Hello everyone, this is Frank DiMora, the author of the book, The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. You can go over to my website, BibleProphecyMan.com, and you can download the book today for free. I get a lot of questions for people who are coming either to my video site or that are visiting my two prophecy sites, one of which is BibleProphecyMan.com. And they're asking me questions. So today I want to answer a question that somebody gave to me concerning Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. And you'll see the verse right here. It says this: I know your works, tribulation, and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. So let me break this down very briefly for you in answering the question, what does this mean? And first of all, where he says, I know your works. Jesus finds something for which he can commend the church of Smyrna. You notice here, he doesn't censor this church. So in tribulation, which is the next section of it, Jesus knows the tribulation that the church of Smyrna faced. So what is tribulation? Well, obviously it means pressure, distress, hard times, or tribulation is anything that oppresses or crushes the soul. So Jesus, knowing everything, knows everything about the anguish they encountered. And without a doubt, he notices all the headaches Christians go through. So notably in this context here, Jesus does not rebuke these suffering Christians. And of course, this stands in striking contrast to 5 of the other churches whom he censors. Evidently, those who put their faith in God's promises, when they experience tribulation, become unadulterated in the doctrine and spirituality. Now, moving to this section, and poverty, but you are rich. Now, the Greek word here for poverty carries the idea of destitution. The Smyrna church endured extreme poverty. This church was beggarly and destitute. This poverty may have been due to their stand for Christ. Now, these Christians lived in a prosperous city, and yet they were the object of poverty because they loved the Lord. And of course, the church of Smyrna was poor in temporal things, but rich in spiritual things, which is the best way for a Christian to be, obviously. Let's move to this section here. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not. Now, the New Testament doesn't use blasphemy exclusively to describe defaming God. It uses the word many times of defamation of people. It means slander and refers to all abusive speech. Now, certain Jews attempted to defame or slander the church of Smyrna, and these people tried to harm the reputation of this church. And this slander may refer to these Jews reporting the Smyrna church to the Roman authorities. They tried to discredit both Christ and Christians. And Jesus not only notices the persecutions Christians face, but he also notices the persecutors. And then finally, this last part, but are a synagogue of Satan. These people, these persecutors, were far from the true children of Abraham, for these persecutors belong to Satan. A synagogue of Satan probably refers to what these Jews did to the Smyrna church as they reported them to the Roman authorities. So it was obvious that people who were Jews and who claimed that they were close to God were just the opposite, because they were persecuting the church that God had established. So over the years, not much has changed. We have people who claim that they are Christians, claim that they are Jews, but in one way or another, they're persecuting the church. And they would be classified in with the Revelation 2:9 verse. Anyone who claims that they're Jews, or anyone who claims that they are Christians, and you see the acts of what they're doing, persecuting Christians, we know who they really are. And they're part of the synagogue of Satan. Whether it be Jews whether it be Gentiles, they are definitely not the children of Abraham, because if they were, there would be no persecution. They would be part of those being persecuted. I want to thank you for coming to my channel, and I'd like to invite you to go over to my BibleProphecyMan.com site, as you see right before you. And when you scroll down, you'll find a link that you can download my book today for free. If you have any questions that you would like answered, please email me at fjdemora@gmail.com. Now, Revelation chapter 2, verse 9 is just the tip of the iceberg about what's going to happen at the last days just prior to the Lord's second coming. So if you haven't studied the book of Revelation, more than likely you're not going to be ready for what is coming. Jesus Christ in the book of Revelation outlines everything that's going to happen during a period of 7 years. They call it the tribulation period. The first 3.5 years is a setup period where this man of sin, the Antichrist, will come, and he'll have a false prophet with him. And during the first 3.5 years, we see that there's going to be a Jewish temple that's going to be built again. That will be the third temple. And we also see in the book of Revelation that the Antichrist is going to go into that temple. And at that point, 3.5 years into the 7 years, he's going to tell everybody that he's God. And at that point, he's going to force everyone to take a mark, his mark, either in the right hand or in the forehead. And we saw in verse 9 of Revelation 2, as we're looking today, the persecution that Smyrna faced is going to be nothing compared to what people are going to be facing during the tribulation period if they don't bow down and worship this man, this Antichrist person who is coming. And the signs that Jesus gave to us in the book of Revelation are signs for us to get ready so that we know when we saw those signs, we would have joy knowing that the Lord Jesus was going to remove his people, remove his church from this planet and bring them into heaven with him to keep them safe during the 3.5 years of wrath that will be poured out on an unrighteous population of people on planet Earth. So this is why it's so important to understand the book of Revelation and to study it. Jesus gives us an unveiling of the things that were going to happen in the future, and we're seeing the road being developed now to fulfill all prophecy. If you haven't given your life to the Lord, now is a good time to do that. God bless.